My wife pulled into the driveway, and my car's Bluetooth is connected to her Mercedes. And when she pulls in, my phone syncs with her vehicle, so it kind of throws my videos off. So sorry about that. But yeah, just wanted to celebrate and really break down some things that we can learn from IShowSpeed. I just recently tapped into IShowSpeed and his work, and I really appreciate the young man's sort of ability to navigate the complexities of this world with grace as best as you can at 20 years old, right? And just sort of like the light that he sheds on the black experience and sort of our relationship to this world and how unique it is being African Americans, these realities, of racism and how it sort of blends into sarcasm, right? And how he handles it as best as he can, with grace, and how it shows that, you know, racism and discrimination doesn't just stop in the United States of America. This is a global final boss, right? That African Americans have to face and that we are up against. And it really, in a lot of ways, he kind of shows the multifaceted nature of racism and how it really can shapeshift and morph itself. Racism is almost like a mutant, right? If it was a evil character in X-Men, racism would be like a hell of a shapeshifter, right? It just has a very um, unique way of blending in to the environment and sort of like adapting to the circumstances of the environment. So I won't be on here long because I'm working, but um, just wanted to kind of speak to the importance. His experiences, and again, just salute to him. This isn't a video to attack him or anything like that. I'm very much a supporter of his, and I just believe that there are a lot of lessons that African American youth, African American men can extract from this young man's work and his global reach. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, hey, what's up, Danielle? YouTube is it's almost like, when you get involved with YouTube, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of detailed work where you have to be very meticulous around production. You have to be very intentional, around Wi-Fi, internet connection, all these different things. So I appreciate the grace you guys have been giving me. Hey, Danielle, how you doing? I won't be on here probably for 10 minutes, but I want to talk about is, iShowSpeed is his, is he the cure for racism? Is his narrative and his approach, is it a cure for racism, or could this also be tokenism? And hey, what's up, Terrain? I think this is such an important lesson and an important experience that's occurring with his impact that I think a lot of people, not just Black people, but specifically Black people, can learn. And just he also exposes just sort of like the shape. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. I just got back from Hawaii this morning. What's up, Mixed Martial Arts, my man? Good to see you. How you doing? I just got back in Cali this morning, 5 this morning. I don't have that much time, guys, but I'm just going to do an introduction to my video. I'm just booked, man. Everywhere I go, I'm just slammed. My time is so limited. I try to squeeze in as many YouTube videos as I can. I'm a full-time father, full-time husband, full-time therapist. So I work. I have a master's in psychology, marriage and family therapy. So I do this. I'm constantly working with different cultures, different backgrounds, exposed to different narratives, different stories. So I try to create these videos to kind of share some of my wisdom with you guys. So I want to talk about just the multifaceted nature of racism and how IShowSpeed, his story, his movement really kind of highlights, you know, you said, "Will God bring me a husband soon?" I pray He does. We live in a universe of many possibilities. We're basically in a universe that's hanging on nothing. So I mean, if that's possible, anything is possible, right? You just got to have that faith. So I'm probably going to have enough time to do the introduction to this series. I wish I had more time with you guys. I love meeting with you guys, and as family, just it's just having these discussions. And again, this isn't any sort of like attack on IShowSpeed. I'm a supporter of his. I love his work. I'm praying for him every day that he stays protected. But there is a lot of wisdom and lessons that we can gain from this. All right. So racism at its core is the systemic prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against individuals based on their race, most often targeting African Americans in the United States. Again, we know that racism doesn't just start and end with African Americans. This is something that any race can experience. You can be white, you can be black, you can be Indian, you can be Hispanic. All right. So this is just in reference to the African American story, all right? Because younger people might have this perception when they see IShowSpeed being embraced all over the world. He's being loved. You're seeing all these different cultures kind of running up to him. They're racing up to him. That, hey, man, there is no racism. This black people are loved. We're good, man. What is all this fuss about? But see, that's what the enemy wants you to think, right? He wants you to think that the oppression and the discrimination and the injustice that still occurs in the Black American community is really on the merit of the individual, right? Because you guys have this one guy, or this idea of this tokenism. Like, you have this one black guy, he's so embraced, he's so loved. If he can do it, he can be loved. Why aren't you guys, right? And there's a two-part narrative that comes with fandom. When you have fans, you could be IShowSpeed, you could be Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. The fan isn't just in it for the star, right? It's not just about IShowSpeed. When I'm trying to get a picture and I'm trying to get the signature, it's about how that helps my social status, right? I go back home to the everyday people. Man, I got a shirt signed by IShowSpeed. I got a damn IShowSpeed football sign, and that makes me more accepted in a way. I have some sort of value, right? So it's the fandom is not just about the star and the influencer. It's also about the fan, right? So don't confuse fan and fanaticism with, oh, it's because they just love this guy so much. No, it's a two-part relationship. Yeah, I respect this guy, I honor this guy, but hey, if I can get this signed jersey and I go back to my hood or my neighborhood, man, they're gonna love me. I'm the man. So it's a little bit of narcissism connected with fandom as well. It's also about the person, right? And how they will be perceived or viewed back to the everyday person, right? In relationship to this particular star. Okay. So historically, racism has shaped laws, economics, education, and opportunity, reducing human beings into stereotypes rather than acknowledging their full humanity. In today's digital age, figures like IShowSpeed rise to global attention, attracting millions with charisma, all right, humor, and authenticity. Yet beneath the applause, a harder question remains. Has racism truly diminished, or does visibility merely disguise the deeper wounds of inequality? When Speed streams across borders and garners admiration from fans in Tokyo, London, and Rio, it can appear as though racism has evaporated. Look, some may say, we live in a post racial society. This young African American is embraced worldwide. But this global embrace risks masking the quieter, persistent barriers faced by everyday Black Americans who will never experience such platforms or popularity. Racism doesn't vanish because one of us ascends, it merely shifts its mask. The danger of tokenism lies here. Tokenism is the symbolic inclusion of a minority figure to create the illusion of progress while the larger system of inequality remains untouched. In Speed's case, fans gain as much as he does, all right? They display their proximity to him like social capital, all right? So fans, they they are essentially thriving off of this social capital, right? If I can get a picture with this man, if I can get caught on his live stream, if I can get just something signed from this man, I'm going to matter more, right? I'm going to be To hell if Speed makes it to his destination safely or whatever the course of his day, however it works out, is however it works out. I get to go. It's about me. Yeah, I'll watch into him. I'll tune into him. He's rich. Who gives a fuck? Right? It's about me. I get to go back to my people. Look at me. Look at me. And when I was looking at the IShowSpeed tour, that was sort of what was coming up to me in my Holy Spirit. Like, Randy, don't get too caught up in having a lot of fans and having a lot of popularity and social desirability, because when you have this sort of you know influence, it's not the fandom, and the fanaticism is not just about you. It's as much as it is about the fan, right? So it says here again, tokenism is the symbolic inclusion of a minority figure to create an illusion of progress, while the larger system of inequity remains untouched. In Speed's case, fans gain as much as he does. They display their proximity to him like social capital. They post photos, boast to friends, and enjoy the reflection of his popularity. But what does that say about the lived experience of young black boys in Ohio, all right, Detroit, or across America who still face profiling, all right, underfunded schools, and unequal opportunity? To younger African Americans, Speed's story may feel like validation. If I am seen, if I am great, if I am loud enough, the world will love me, right? And that's something that is really, really what drives a lot of young people to wanting to be in the entertainment industry. They want to become famous. They want to be stars. You can easily be a great famous plumber. You could be a famous electrician. You could be a famous painter, carpenter, right? There's so many different avenues of success. However, we want that fast route, right? We want that quick social capital, right? A lot of times stardom is just fast social capital, right? It's that in and out burger capital, right? We want to get it right away. So don't confuse tokenism or the inclusion of one minority figure as the resolution of oppression, of discrimination against the broader community of black people. Okay. And when you're in such a position of influence, you got contracts, you got brands, you got managers, you got VPs, you got all these different hands that you're tied to. Speed can't really speak to some of these issues without it coming to a cost, right? You saw with the Nike deal with Kai Cenat, hey man, don't talk about all that Jesus stuff, all right? So he had to turn. So a lot of these contracts come with you keeping your fucking mouth shut, all right? Especially when, a lot of what you're saying can be politicized and different things like that, or the CEOs or the boards feel like it will hurt their image, all right? So so it says here, yet the truth is more complex. Racism doesn't end when one man is embraced. It only reveals how status and popularity can bend the rules temporarily. For the everyday Black American, recognition, safety, and fairness must not be conditional on fame. To understand this, we must look at the history, right? How token figures have always been placed on pedestals, while the community still endured systemic justice. And one thing I noticed too is like when there is a token or when there is a included minority and that person's just thriving, the community is like suffering, right? They're fucking suffering. All right. I noticed that, it's just really unique how the enemy really works, right? He picks some of the most egregious, just suffering, chaotic times of a marginalized community, and then it seems like that token it just takes off. It's almost like in a way the degree of the aptitude or altitude of the token is dependent on the descendant quality of the community, right? The more descendant the people are, the more fucked up these Black people are, the higher the token goes, right? So I'm going to speak more to this. I have a lot of clients and work I have to do. I just missed you guys. I just got back from Hawaii today. I'm happy to be back with my family, with my kids. We're going to break this down. I have about 15 points. We're going to go into the history of tokenism and break down the psychology and the science of this. This is a masterclass. You're rocking with Randy Weinglass. Again, salute to Speed. I'm really proud of the brother overall and the work that he's doing, the just the impact that he has, on our community and on the world, and the lessons and the wisdom that he is giving us at such a young age. All right, praying for the brother. I definitely want to pull some of these lessons out. So I'm going to be continuing this series. I just have another video that I'm going to do later on today. So if you want to hear more about this, I appreciate my viewers, my subscribers. You guys been taking my account to the stars. That's another thing that inspires me about IShowSpeed. He's very vocal and authentic about how he started off with just 1 or 2 viewers, then the 10 viewers, and then a year later he took off. So I really appreciate people who can be honest and open about the realities of trying to build your brand up organically. So really proud of him. Just want to kind of pull out some lessons and things that as Black people, for the Black youth, we can learn from his journey. All right, praying for you guys, praying that God keeps you safe, keep you protected. I'll be back with a continuation of this series. All right, I'm out.